Good morning, everybody. And I should say, grand rising. Oh, that was a real treat to have you here and to really get us moving. Were you guys moving in your seat like I was? It's really, the music here is amazing, isn't it? Yeah, let's give everyone a hand. Our band, our music minister, our soloist, it's really, they always deliver in such a big way, and I'm really grateful for it. I want to give a little plug to our Taizé service that is coming up on Thanksgiving Eve. It's an opportunity for us to come together and celebrate connection. And so we'll have some amazing music from Allendale. We'll have our ministers will be reading some poetry. We'll have a little ritual. It'll be a great opportunity for us to come together right before the holidays and really set the vibe, if you will, within ourselves. You're invited to come, and I think the time is 7 o'clock. Thank you. There's like something at 6:30, something at 5, something keeping it all straight. So it's at 7 o'clock, and bring some dessert to share. It'll be an awesome opportunity for us to really center ourselves, because the holidays are upon us, right? Yeah, and that can be a pretty busy time for people. That can be a frenetic time for some folks. That can be a lonely time for some folks. There's lots of emotions that are available to us, I'll put it that way, available to us when we're moving through the holidays. And so our opportunity and the thing that we want to offer here is to come to the center and keep yourself centered while you're moving through whatever it is you're moving through. Be here with family and friends. Come and avail yourself to this beautiful and welcoming community and to all the things that are happening during the week. And I'm starting to get into invitation mode, so let me reel myself back in. We have been working with this theme of Grand Rising all year, where this month's theme is abundance or abundance. And so hopefully your bun has been dancing a little bit this week and this month as we've been talking about all the different things each week. And today is Rise Up and Dance. And I thought I would confess that I really love to dance. I love to dance so much that when I was a teenager, I was invited to dance with an all-girl review, and we did. It was the late '70s, Saturday Night Fever. Disco was alive, and and the big hair and all the moves. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to dance. It was a lot of fun to move my body and to just feel the flow of energy that moves through it when we can really let ourselves loosen up a little bit. So I know you might be sitting close to somebody, but I want you to just kind of shake your arms out a little bit, maybe in front of you so you don't hurt anybody. But just feel that. Now pause for a moment and feel that. Do you feel the energy you've loosened up by moving your arms? That's what happens when we use movement to move energy through us. There is an abundance of energy, and what I know about energy is that it can never be destroyed. It never really goes away. It simply shifts. It shifts form. And so if you think about water, that moves from being liquid to frozen form, that's ice, and then vapor when it melts. Like, that is how energy works with us. It is always trying to move, and sometimes it gets stuck. And sometimes we need to loosen it up a little bit, and we do that through movement. You can do dancing, yoga, qigong. There's lots of different ways you can move energy through yourself. We do that through some of the spiritual practices that we offer to move the thoughts in our mind. We move energy through sometimes it takes being with some friends or maybe sharing with a partner or even a therapist, just moving energy so that it continues to move through us. And so what I know about energy is that it's the same for abundance. And I have this great quote from Ernest Holmes that I found a couple years ago where he's talking about abundance, and he's talking about this idea that you can't create abundance because it already exists, like energy. It is a quality of the divine that moves through us, as us, with us, and as us. Was that the quote in the affirmation? With us, as us, by us. It is always ready to be. Thank you. It is always ready to be revealed, and we reveal it through our attention. And so Ernest says this about abundance and the practice of embodied gratitude. He says, there is a law in physics which says that water will reach its own level by its own weight. There is a law of metaphysics corresponding to it. Consciousness will externalize at its own level by its own recognition. We may call it faith, we may call it embodiment, we may call it whatever we will. There is something in the universe which responds and corresponds to our mental state. And so when we look at these ideas around abundance, and I'm going to pull in gratitude because it's the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and that's on everybody's heart right now. And when we're working with those qualities, we are going to experience it to the same degree that we are holding it within our consciousness. And so that's why we've been doing this 30 days of shameless joy and shameless gratitude and unabashed joy. It's a book that there's one, I think there's still one in the bookstore. It's called Thank God and Grow Rich. And it's not just about money. It's about stepping into a more abundant consciousness, stepping into a more expansive way of thinking. There's a lot going on in the world that could contract us. There's a lot that sometimes, for me, I'll just talk about myself personally, when there are things going on where I'm feeling unsteady, where the ground feels like it's moving under my feet, or I'm not feeling safe, my first reaction is to defend myself, defend my heart, to pull my energy in. But that's when we get really contracted. Spirit moves as flow. And when we're contracted, we hamper or hinder that movement of energy and flow. And so oftentimes we'll use affirmations or spiritual mind treatment to get us into that mindset so that we can be in a more expansive and open place to allow energy to move through us. I was thinking about affirmations and gratitude and abundance and all those things that we're talking about this month, and moving into the holidays. And sometimes when there's a lot going on in your life, maybe it's an unexpected bill or an unexpected diagnosis or something's happening in your relationship, it can feel a little bit like a bypass to go right to the affirmation or the spiritual mind treatment. But the purpose of those practices aren't to pretend that things aren't happening, but they are to lift us up so that we can walk something out. We can be in a mindset that will allow us to make better choices and decisions, to be clearer, not to be hampered by the effects and the conditions that we're experiencing, but to have a greater clarity. Are you with me? Are you tracking? And I was thinking about there's an old joke that I'm going to revive in a little bit and make it more religious science. And so there was a guy who was living in an area, and it's actually might be in poor taste to be joking about floods right now, but I'm going to anyway. there was a person who was in an area, a big storm was coming, and he did his spiritual treatment to be safe. And then his family called him from another region and said, "Come stay with us." And he said, "Oh, no, I did my treatment. I'll be safe." The waters began to rise, and a big truck came by and said, "Hey, we can give you a ride to the higher ground." And he said, "Oh, no, I did my treatment. I'll be safe." As the waters continued to rise, and even into his first floor, he went up to the second floor, and a boat came by, and somebody said in the boat said, "Oh, come with me. I'll take you. We'll take you to safety." He said, "Oh, no, I prayed to be safe. I'm fine." Finally, there was a helicopter that came by, and a loud voice, as he was beginning to get, the fellow was beginning to get into his spiel about, "Oh, I did my spiritual mind treatment, I'll be safe." Before he could even utter the words, a loud voice came booming out, and it said, I offered you safety through your friends. I offered you safety through a boat. I offered you safety through the truck. Take the helicopter." Take the helicopter. Sometimes when we are in a situation and we want a certain result, we sort of pigeonhole it to what we think it needs to look like. And sometimes I think that's what spiritual bypassing can do for us. It gets us on this wavelength where we're just going to be like, well, I have this situation, and the only way I'm going to be okay is when this situation changes in the way I want it to change. But what I know about working with the divine is it's infinite possibility. Infinite possibility. And so our work is to stay awake and aware and alert. Awake and aware and alert. There's a wonderful teacher who was asked once about how they moved into gratitude, and they talked about a 3-step process of being awake, meaning that we have our eyes open and we allow ourselves to see the world with fresh perspective in no matter what's going on for us. Oftentimes we get into a situation and we have those, the way we think it's going to be, right? Something happens and maybe there's not enough money in the checkbook, and so we just assume that something bad is going to happen, or we have those default knee-jerk reactions to things. But by being awake, we allow ourselves to discover new possibilities. The second step to really stepping into a place of moving with gratitude and stepping into abundance is to be aware to all the possibilities. Just like the little joke I gave where there were so many different possibilities for this person to experience safety, and they had that one idea. When we are walking through a situation, we allow ourselves to be awake and then aware of what's new, what possibilities are before us, how could this show up differently? And then finally, we want to be alert. And that alertness helps us to respond in a way that moves us from the place that we're stuck at into whatever is possible, to move us in the possibility by first checking ourselves, checking the way we're thinking about things, checking the way we're behaving, and then making a conscious choice. Making a conscious choice about how we want to walk this out. And so when things don't work out the way we think they're going to work out, we can choose kindness even though we're frustrated. We can choose to be generous. We can choose to be compassionate even when there are challenges before us. And so as we're looking at this idea of moving into the holidays and all the things we're supposed to do this time of year, we have an opportunity to walk through it awake, aware, and alert, and making choices about who we want to be as we move through what can be um, a difficult time. It could be difficult because you got too much to do. It could be difficult because you don't have anything to do. I mean, the possibilities are all over the map because we all have our individuated way of showing up in the world. As we look at this idea of gratitude and thanksgiving and how that is really we talked about energy, we talked about abundance. Gratitude is sort of the practice where we begin to experience and acknowledge our abundance. And so there was a teacher who was asked, what's the difference between gratitude and thanksgiving? And he responded, there are two branches of gratitude. One is gratefulness, and the other is thanksgiving. The gratefulness branch is when the bowl of life is so full that it's almost overflowing, but not quite. So full that it's almost bowed at the top, but not quite dribbling over the edge. And that is the experience of great and the fullness of life. He went on to say that when you are in a great fullness of life, you're one with God, you're one with the universe. There is no other. And that is so fulfilling that the bowl of life gives way and to overflow at last, which flows you directly over to the second branch that is thanksgiving. And I love this idea of gratefulness is, really recognizing all the amazing things that are available to us, that we already have, to recognizing all that we have to be grateful for. But he goes on to talk about Thanksgiving branch. And he says, when you're in the space of Thanksgiving, the bowl of life is absolutely overflowing. You're so grateful that there is an other because all you want to do is contribute and serve and share and give and make a difference. And this is so fulfilling that it puts you right back into the other branch where you experience the great fullness of life. So when we're moving through this season of gratitude and giving, it's great to recognize and to count your blessings, to look at all the things that you have to be grateful for, and then to use the energy of gratitude to put you into this place of thanksgiving, which is the giving of ourselves. And it's very similar to what we're beginning to see with this particular philosophy. Early in the history of this philosophy, it was all about getting centered and remembering our wholeness and our own individuated perfection. But we've now moved into a place where we are so overfilled with that perfection of being that we can give it to other people in ways. We can bless other people with all that we have been given through this philosophy that has grounded us and reminded us of our wholeness. We can remind others of their wholeness in various ways. And I guess I feel like I'm making a little bit of a casserole this morning. The last piece that I want to talk about is that sometimes when we have trouble moving from abundance and into gratitude and thanksgiving, that we find that we have some obstacles in the way. And maybe it's some hurt that you experienced with somebody. Maybe it's a difficult relationship. Maybe it's, there's something you can't forgive yourself for. And so here's an opportunity for us as we're beginning to move with the energy of abundance and gratitude and thanksgiving, that when we find ourselves stuck, remember energy has to keep flowing and moving, we can use the practice of forgiveness to open things up. And my gal pal and dear friend, Reverend Dr. Michelle Wadley, is doing a program called 28 Days of Forgiveness. And if you participated in the intentional election text messages and phone calls, it's through the same group, and it starts tomorrow. So when we do the invitations, I'll share the text message with you if you're interested. It's on the Facebook page. And if you want to really open up the valve, if you will, to your own abundance and gratitude and thanksgiving, doing a little forgiveness work. And I'm not talking about like, he done me wrong, so I have to forgive them. Forgiveness is about clearing what's in you so that you can be a greater expression of the divine as you. I love the holidays. I really do. It's an opportunity to celebrate and dance and be with family and friends. It's an opportunity to really step into joy. And so my invitation to you is to see how you can really be a pure expression of the divine through these holidays by being awake and aware and alert and letting go of anything that's in the way through forgiveness so that you can really be that place where the divine gives through your overflow. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And so, thank you, John Henry. Let's do some spiritual mind treatment. And remember to take the helicopter. And so I know as we move into this Thanksgiving week where we have opportunities to take some time apart or to be with friends, to be with family, whatever works for you, I know that it truly is an opportunity for us to express the divine, to recognize all the things that we are grateful for so that we can give from the overflow into Thanksgiving. And so I know for each one we are indeed blessed by all that we have been given, all that we have, blessed by the opportunity to be in community together, but blessed by this beautiful philosophy that opens our minds and helps us to see the way forward when we don't see any way forward. And so I know for each one an open heart, an open mind, and intentional actions that come from the open mind and the open heart, that come from the divine as we move energy through us, as us and by us, as we walk out into the world to be that place where God shows up as each one. And so it is with deep gratitude that I know this highest truth, this calling for each one of us to be grounded in spirit and to walk out our days through the holidays, conscious and open. And so I give great gratitude for this. I let it go because I know it's true. And together we anchor this prayer by saying, and so it is. Thank you.